Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I'm Hercules Invictus, and today I'm proud to bring you all things paranormal with Paul Dale Roberts.
Right on. Thank you, Hercules. And before I introduce the guest, I'm going to have everybody introduce themselves. Just state your name and a little bio, who you are. So we'll start off, well, ladies first. We'll start off with Gloria.
Hello, I'm Gloria Ramos. I paint, I write, I cook, and I'm clairvoyant. There we go.
And you're also, Gloria, you're also too an author, correct?
Yes, I said I'm an author, I'm an artist,
Oh,
and
okay.
blah, blah,
I
blah.
didn't, I didn't catch that part. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, next one is Michael.
I am Michael Waterman, also Setna Comwest, or Setna as Kemet, as Hercules will say. I am a painter, a sculptor, I write, and I'm a clairvoyant also, and a witch, and the high priest of the Planetaro Temple.
Fantastic. Thank you, Michael. Hercules.
I am Hercules Invictus. I am an investigator, an experiencer, a writer, a podcaster, a producer of podcasts, and many other things besides. So I'm happy to be here today. Thank you for including me.
And we have Tim.
Well, hi, everyone. Pleasure to be with you today. I'm Tim Swartz. I'm like everyone else here. I'm a researcher, investigator, and writer about the paranormal and all things weird and strange.
I'm just
Thank you
We're
so
not
much.
weird.
I was going to say I resemble that remark.
I am.
And Tim, what was your latest book, and what's the book coming out that you have coming out real soon?
Well, our latest book, which practically everyone here has a chapter in, is called Weird Time, Exploring the Mysteries of Time and Space. And we all have a new book that's going to be coming out in a couple of months called The Persistence of Ghost. And I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Wow.
Looking forward to that. And we're missing Steve Ward. Hercules, is Steve Ward in the back room there?
Space Ranger just arrived.
A Space Ranger, that's him.
Okay, he's here.
Okay. And hello, Steve. I don't see him though.
And we have Robert.
He's in my list of people who are here.
I see him.
Oh, there he is. Space Ranger.
I was
Steve
in the Witness
Ward.
Protection Program.
Yeah. Steve, go ahead and introduce yourself, your name, and a little bio of who you are.
Well, Steve Ward. I live in West Virginia now, transplanted from Michigan. I've been following the Mothman since November '66, and I work at the Mothman Museum part-time. I have a book out called Mothman High Strangeness. I co-authored with Mark Randall, who was the graphic artist that covers sort of the year of the Mothman. And let's see, what else? I have a podcast, The High Strangeness Factor, on the Paranormal UK radio network. And that's pretty good for now.
Fantastic. Thank you, Steve. And my name is Paul Dale Roberts. I have several books out there on the paranormal. I'm a former paranormal investigator. I've been on something like 2,500 investigations. And I write for about 6 paranormal magazines. And so that kind of keeps me busy. And plus, I'm a podcaster right here. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce the guest. His name is Rob Gutro. I hope I'm saying that right.
Mhm.
He's a pet medium. He's a psychic medium. He's an animal rescuer. To me, that is a hero. I love animals. He's an author, and he has several books out there, and like Pets in the Afterlife, Ghosts on a Medium's Vacation. And I kind of like that because I used to always travel on budget. So when I went to England, they had this type of seasonal type ticket, and it was a window of opportunity to go there and not spend that much money. So anyway, and he would like to start off tonight talking about travel, history, and hauntings. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everybody. Wow, our group. There's so much talent in this room. It's amazing. Paul, I wanted to tell you, I admire the statue behind you. I wanted to ask you what that was.
That at one time I was into comic books, and that's the legendary Dark Silhouette. And I created this one comic book. It was hell trying to put it together. I mean, working with these artists, getting the word bubbles correct, everything. It was just a real pain in the butt. But I finally got it done. That was my main character. And what was so unique about this is that one of the artists who drew my character had him shaking hands with Spider-Man. And Marvel Comics, a magazine, published a picture of my character shaking hands with Spider-Man. That officiates him into the Marvel universe.
I'll be darned. We'll see him in the next big blockbuster movie, right?
Yeah, I wish. I hope.
Wow, that's awesome.
With his own, her, or is it a her or him?
It's a him. It's a him.
Him with his own theme music. That'll be cool.
Oh yes. There we go. So, Rob, tell us about this travel history and hauntings. Let's get this going.
So I'm a big comic book aficionado. I still read a lot of comic books. I've been collecting them since 1974. So,
Wow.
and I will tell you that it's really helped me in my paranormal investigations too, because I learned how to draw from reading comic books. So whenever I go on investigations and I see what these ghosts look like, I sketch them out. So this is
That's cool.
I made of a ghost I encountered at the Hunt Memorial Library. This is my latest book, actually. So I sketched them out. So some of my books have sketches. So the series that I wanted to talk to you all about tonight is my Ghost on a Medium's Vacation series, because being in the winter doldrums, we're all planning our vacation or hoping for a vacation, right?
Right.
How many of you have been to England?
Oh,
I
Yeah,
have.
Couple
quite
times.
often actually.
Oh, cool. Okay. So one of the books I wrote is called Ghosts of England on a Medium's Vacation. Actually, it's right behind me over here. And I didn't set out to write a book about England. I set out to enjoy a vacation there. And it wasn't planned by me, it was planned by my partner, because he loves the Tudor period, and I'm not into the Tudor history, or I wasn't until I went there and I started talking to dead people who are living in the Tudor era. And when I go on vacation, I take a notebook with me. And whenever I go to a place, I like to write a little bit about the history and maybe sketch something, and then I blog about it later on my personal blog, so that years later I can go back and look back at where I've been and some of the sites I've seen. So that's why I always kept a journal with me. I had no idea that journal would become the basis for my book, Ghosts on a Medium's Vacation, Ghosts of England. So that's how it happened. It was totally accidental. All these dead people did not want to leave me alone. They wanted attention. Yeah. And I find that, and I heard that several of you say that you're mediums and you have the ability to communicate. So when you've gone on vacation, have you connected to some ghosts in a certain location?
Yeah.
Can I say something about my experience? This is in Vienna. Our hotel room, I'll never forget the name of the hotel. It's König van Ungarn, King of something. Anyway, the hotel room was like a townhouse. It had 2 stories. the bedroom was upstairs, and downstairs is, I guess, your sofa, you know, I don't know how old this hotel was, but the minute I walked in there, the empath medium in me sensed such despair and sadness. And I thank God they don't show themselves to me, because I, I'm a big scaredy cat. But the whole time, we only spent one night there, but the whole time I just felt this bottomless sadness. You know, I think somebody committed suicide there and probably hung himself. But I will never forget that walking in there and feeling that much, you know, just despair. But that's my. They talk to me in my head, but they don't show themselves to me. Thank God, because I don't know. I can't deal with it. I don't know how you do it.
I can't say that. I do see them,
You do?
and they
I know
speak
some.
to me, and they do speak
Well,
to
they
me.
talk to me in my head, but actually, hearing them out loud, no. But I know exactly. But my concern is sometimes they talk to me, but I don't know who it is. It's a stranger, and I wish they would communicate more and tell me why they're picking me. If I don't know them, why they're picking me to leave a message with, because I have no way of sending this message forward. So if any of you have any ideas about that, I would appreciate it.
Okay.
When
It depends on the ability or the energy level of that spirit, what they can manifest, what they can produce for you. Sometimes they're not that strong, sometimes they're very strong. It depends on how they connect with you. The fact that they know you were there and that you're clairvoyant, they were aware enough to say in such a way, in vibrational form, hi, I'm here. And that's important.
Mhm.
And that's something you can develop, though, very much so.
And sometimes it depends on the context where you see the spirit. I had one experience in the island of Lemnos, which is in the northeastern Aegean Sea. I was in one of the port towns in a cafe, uh, just basically drinking coffee and looking at the where the ships embarking, disembarking, and so forth. And I saw this young kid. It was a boy, maybe 9, 10 years old, very thin, and he was playing around this one tree. So I guess I looked peculiar doing so after a long time. So the waiter asked me, "What am I looking at?" It looks like an intense looking spot. And I say, I see this young kid. And I described the young kid, what he was wearing, what he was doing. And the guy started looking very concerned. And he left in the middle of my answering his question. And then he came back with the owner and he asked me to repeat what I said to the owner. So I did. I repeated everything to the owner. And it turned out that he said I described his brother who planted that tree, but was murdered as a young child. And the clothes
Oh,
that he was
wow.
wearing were the clothes he wore at his funeral when they buried him.
Ah,
So
Oh,
oh my.
the message, that was the message. And the purpose I saw was in communicating this message because I didn't really have a problem telling people I was talking to dead people, especially when I was much, much younger.
Wow.
That's incredible.
so did he have a message for his brother? I mean, the dead brother, did he have
Just
a
that he was,
message?
how I interpreted it was he's still there.
Oh, he's still there.
His
He's kind of
presence,
like,
his presence is still there.
oh, okay.
When
That's cool.
people die, people don't know where they went, don't know if they're ever going to see them again, and so forth. So he communicated that his presence was still there. It's still in familiar areas. It still comes to visit. So that was a great relief to him.
Mhm.
That's a big
That's
comfort.
nice.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
I had an experience. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's awesome. What a great comfort that is. And yeah, I found that I have to be careful about who I tell because sometimes I can get in trouble if I tell the wrong people. But for the most part, most people are open to it. So Michael, you had another experience?
Well, it's kind of a strange one. I am a priest of Isis. with the Fellowship of Isis. I was at the Temple of Philae, which is on the Nile. It's the Temple of Isis. All of a sudden, a young woman came running out at me at the temple. Now, I thought it was a girl in costume at first because she was very solid. And I looked and I looked, and I saw the eyeliner, the long hair, a very diaphanous pleated gown with a leopard shawl wrapped around it, which would indicate she's a priestess. And she said, "At last, someone who's one of us."
Wow.
And I stepped back and I looked and I thought, this is not a person in a costume. I mean, I'm big on costumes. So I was shocked, but she was, I would say, probably from the late period, like romantic Greek or Roman period. She was not completely Egyptian. She looked Caucasian, like a
Huh.
Greek or a Roman girl. But she came running out. She had a sistrum, which is a rattle from Egypt, and she had behind her, it looked like children. And she was a teacher, I could tell. And she just said, "It's about time somebody that knows what we do is here. Welcome." And then she vanished.
Wow.
Wow.
She was
That's so,
very, very strong. And what's weird is that temple was, moved because of the Aswan Dam. It would have been underwater otherwise.
I
huh.
have I have a question for Rob. Rob, when you go in your travels and everything, and you go to a place that's had a lot of tragedy,
Mhm.
I've been to the Tower of London. I've been to the Jack the Ripper candlelight tour, and also to the bridge over River Kwai in Thailand. Very depressing places. I mean, torture, murder, uh, just all kinds, suicides, just everything. And when I went there, I mean, I'm not a psychic or anything, but I felt this sadness, depression, uh, this feeling of dread. Do you feel these things like when you go to these type of places?
Yeah, I absolutely do. It's I call it emotional energy that gets imprinted on this in the structure. And whenever I bring my own energy in there, it brings it out of whatever the structure is, so I can feel those those emotions all over again. And that happened to me when I went into the banqueting house in which was part of Whitehall Palace in London, down the street from Big Ben. Whitehall Palace was one of Henry VIII's palaces back in
Yeah.
1547, and it doesn't. The only thing that exists now is the banqueting house where they used to have the banquets, of course. And across the street, there's one tower called the Jewel Tower. Um, I knew nothing about the history of the building, and when I walked in there, I started to feel a very sore throat, and my throat was scratchy, and then I started to feel very feverish, and I didn't understand what was happening. Um, what was happening is that there were earthbound ghosts who decided to stay there that were still looking for a cure. Um, what I learned after I came home was that um, King Charles II, we used to use that banqueting house, and there was a throne in there, and he thought that he had the royal, I think it was a royal touch. I can't remember exactly what it's called. That means that because he was royalty, he could touch somebody and he could cure them. Um,
Huh.
so what I learned was that when he was in power, people would line up to come into this banqueting house because, as it turned out, what I was feeling turned out to be a disease called scapula at the time,
Oh,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
a sore
Mm.
throat, burning throat, and fever. And they would come in there to try and get his hands laid on them to be healed. Well, of course, it didn't work. So many of them passed away, and they're still coming back in to try and get
Try
that
to find a
cure.
cure.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
so
so
sad.
so that was crazy because I did feel their illness.
Right.
Uh,
Like
yeah.
like like I was saying when I felt the, ugh, the sadness and it's kind of horrible because you're feeling somebody else's despair. like you were feeling a sore throat and everything. Yeah. I have a question for everybody. Does anybody smell candles whenever there's a spirit around?
Not always candles, but sometimes cigar smoke, sometimes perfume or flowers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I that's
Flowers. That's two things. I smell flowers or I smell candles. I was on a walk, a historical walk, I think Philadelphia. Was it Philadelphia or Boston? One of the two, where you walk, and I think maybe Boston, because we were walking towards a cemetery and it was foggy and cold, but the whole walk over there, I just kept smelling candles. And I was asking, the people are you smelling candles? Do you smell? Nobody, it was only me. Like the scent of candles was following me around the whole walk. And I was like, oh, maybe there's a spirit or so. I don't know. That's why I'm asking. Or when somebody comes to me, usually it's candles, and then a thought comes into my head about whatever they're trying to tell me. And thank God, I said
I don't.
they don't show
what
candles.
I'm picking up from what I'm picking up from you are people that were in a procession, like a funeral, and they were holding candles as they were
Candles,
walking into the
yeah.
cemetery, and that's what you were smelling. I can feel it.
But it was like the whole walk, because we hit other spots, not just the cemetery, but other spots historically. It was a historical walk. And I was wondering why I was smelling candles the whole way. Like it may be a procession from one end of the town from another that happened there, and they were mourning. But is that anybody else smell candles when they get a visit
I
or
smell cigar.
Yeah,
cigar?
Cigar smoke.
the
I guess
ghost is my main ghost. Eleanor smoked cigarettes and also wore a perfume she made herself out of gardenia and roses. And when she's present, that's what I smell.
so
Oh,
you know
yeah.
her.
And one of my paranormal investigations, the person that lived in the house smoked cigarettes. They were a chain smoker. So when we were investigating, all of a sudden we were smelling cigarette smoke, and none of us smoked. It was like, what the hell? So yeah.
My ex-wife, one time, her dog was just kept barking at nothing, and then all of a sudden she smelled cigar smoke, which is what her father, who had passed,
Oh, so he's
smoked.
reaching out to her
And
to.
and one night we're asleep in bed, and all of a sudden a music box goes off that's in the other bedroom across the hall, and I thought, what the heck? So I finally got it off, and then the next day she realized that was the anniversary of his death. So he was kind of with her all the time.
Like, hey, remember me?
Mm.
Right?
Nothing happens to me. It would take flesh-eating zombies to get my attention.
Oh, I lived in a haunted house. I bought this house maybe 1990 in New Jersey, and I was waiting for the moving van to come, and all of a sudden I felt him in my mind. I didn't see him, but I knew he was a teenage boy, and he was very angry. I ran out of the house, and my neighbor next door was out with her kids, and I said, "Do you know we have a ghost in that house?" She just looked at me in shock, and like, what the heck? So later on, we had a second floor. It was one of those colonial type houses with the roof lines on the second floor are angled. I didn't go upstairs for 2 years until I had more kids and we had to, remodel the upstairs because I was afraid of little Johnny. So I got to know my neighbors. I learned that little Johnny had drowned in a nearby creek on Mother's Day because he was in a cast and he decided to go swimming. And for 2 years, he just was not happy that we were there. So the good old Catholic then in me asked the priest to come bless the house, right? The minute the priest walked in, all the doors started slamming. Oh, so he would not leave until we moved out of that house. I was afraid that he was going to come with, you know how some ghosts, when you move when you move furniture, they go along with the furniture, and you know that furniture has kind of have bad juju the rest of your life because it moved with you. I was hoping he wouldn't move with us, and he didn't. But yeah, little Johnny just stayed in that house and never left.
Well, to the
So
ghost, a lot of
my
times you're the
kids,
intruder.
huh?
To the ghost, from the ghost perspective, a lot of times you're the intruder. You're the
I
one you
know.
live in like a dream reality with like the loops. And there've been plenty of hauntings where the ghost, when I finally communicated with it, it was reacting to my intrusion, like you just shared with the little boy. So we're invading their space. We're the ghosts to them. To some.
I was so happy to move away from that house because it had such a bad energy. You know, like the air conditioner would break. You know, things just happened all the time. It seemed like this kid was so hell bent of getting us out of the house. So, you know, we lived there for 3 years, and 3 years or so, I was just happy to move. We moved from there to California. So to have a house without no teenage ghost with an angst and an an attitude,
Hey,
little Johnny.
uh, there's more I want to ask Rob about the. He has information out there about pets in the afterlife, and also too, I want to find out more about his partner, Monique. Too soon. Rob, can you tell us?
Um, sure. I think last time I was on, we talked exclusively about the Pets in the Afterlife series and how I communicate with pets from the other side to bring healing to people. So that's another series that I wrote, and it basically explains different ways that pets communicate, so that if people read these books, they'll be able to see all the different ways that their pets communicate or can communicate, so they don't need a medium. All they need to do is know what to look for. Um, I'm no longer doing pet readings, by the way. I finally retired from that. I've done it for 20 years, and it's really emotionally exhausting. I've just lost 2 dogs of my own in the last 6 months, and I cannot
Oh,
process the grief. Thank you. I cannot process my own grief because I keep helping other people with their grief. So once I finish, my readings that are scheduled out till September, then maybe I can finally process my own grief. But yeah, it's hard. They're my kids.
I never cried so hard as when I cried for one of our dogs. I didn't even sob when my mother died, but when our little Rottweiler puppy died, that was the hardest I've cried in my whole life. Let me tell you, they're just so precious, you know.
Rob,
Yeah.
I have a
Oh,
pet question. Susie Bastille, who is on with me on my show, The High Strangeness Factor. She's also known as the Pugwudgie Whisperer, by the way. But
The
she
what
wants
whisper?
to the Pugwudgie. You know
Oh,
Pugwudgies, little furry guys that hang around the Bridgewater Triangle.
ah.
Check them out. She's interviewed people that have. She spends a lot of time out there. She doesn't live too far away, and she's talked to people that have claimed to have seen these entities. But anyway, she wants to know if you can answer this. She says she has a theory that sometimes our pets that pass away send us a new pet by putting them in our path somehow. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, I see that all the time.
yeah.
Yeah, I see that all the time. That's actually one of the points that I address in my book, is that your pet will lead you to another pet that you are supposed to adopt, and then once you adopt that pet, the other pet in spirit will come back and visit, sometimes train them to do something that they used to do, so that you'll recognize that they're still around
Ah.
from time to time.
Don't make me cry.
You know, and Rob, with animals, I've had dogs all my life, and every time a dog passes away, I cry like a baby. I
I'm
mean,
telling you.
yeah, I cry more for my dogs than I do for humans. It is weird. Yeah.
Well, it's really not weird when you think about it. I've read a lot of psychological studies, and I've included one of my books that because we are solely responsible for the health and welfare of our pets, like children, um, we grieve more deeply for them than we do for other relatives who have passed. And Gloria, like you, when my mother passed, I understood, she was 86. She had a stroke. I knew that, it was her time. But when my dogs passed, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I was depressed. I wanted to be away from everybody. They are my responsibility. My mother was not my responsibility. She lived her life. Um, and I understood that. And psychological studies will have revealed that we grieve much more deeply for our pets than our humans.
I still miss my dog Rafi. He passed a few years ago, and I was not ready for a new pet. And then one day, just like you said, they will leave you. I said, I don't know if I can do this. I was just standing at a friend's house. And then across the street, I said, look, there's a dog. He was tied to a chair. And I started walking towards him. He started running towards me. And he got tangled up in the chair. And then so we untangled him. It turns out that neighbor of ours, she has cancer, and her granddaughter rescued this dog, Bruno. He's a Maltipoo. And she said, do you want a dog? Out of the blue, right? I said, of course. So she gave him to me. And his name is Bruno, like that song in that animated film Encanto. Nobody talks about Bruno because in the film, Bruno is a psychic. And whatever he says happens. So my dog is named after that psychic in the film, Bruno. But
I have a pet story. I published this in one of Tim's books, and also when they happened in the local papers. We had an article I used to write. We had a ghost cat in Pennsylvania. We had live cats too, but there was one cat that wasn't one of our living cats. It used to appear as like a gray Siamese, and people would see it when they come over and visit, even though it wasn't a physical cat. And it would make noises like it was chomping on hard cat food. Again, there was no cat there. People would feel the cat rub against them when they were walking in our house. We'd feel the cat jumping on the bed at night. Then one of our cats got pregnant. It took me like a year and a half of getting used to the ghost before I would acknowledge it was indeed a ghost of a cat, because spirits can assume many different forms, so you have to be a little cautious of that. So I was convinced that it was a cat, and I named her Ghost. So I used to call Ghost, and the ghost cat would come. And when one of our cats became pregnant, the ghost cat disappeared. So I was wondering if it went into one of the kittens. And when the kittens were born, there was one kitten that looked like the ghost cat. So I called out Ghost, and the kitten started trying to follow my voice. And that kitten never behaved like a regular kitten or cat. And she's like 19 years old. We still have her. And so they can assume other bodies, and they do reincarnate, at least in a limited way.
That's what happens. That spirit was waiting for a body, waiting to come back to find the physical form it was going to enter into. And it chose you and Athena. And I'm not surprised. But, I know that happens often. I have that with Oliver. I know that Oliver was in my life before somewhere. When I met him, it was like we just the old song. It's almost as if we never said goodbye.
oh, how did you feel about Ghost Cat before it became a real? When you had Ghost Cat coming, how were you feeling about the Ghost Cat?
Are you talking to me?
Or who was talking about the Ghost Cat? Yeah.
I thought I have been open to seeing things and hearing things my entire life. And I learned very early in life, just don't share it with people. Just experience life the way it happens, and pretend everyone's like deaf or everyone's blind. They don't have that sense, so just don't talk about it. So I'm used to seeing dead people, animals, and so forth. Pretty
I don't want to see them. I just want to hear them in my head and smell flowers. I don't. You know, my nephew passed.
Maybe never see them, but eventually,
What?
it's like
You're brave.
as a cat. The ghost of a cat. She was like one of our living cats. She was there in the house. She needed attention sometimes. Sometimes she needed to be left alone. Sometimes she'd disappear for a while, then she'd come back. You know, just like a regular cat. And by the time the other cat was pregnant and she went into the kitten, she was behaving the same way. And again, we didn't see her for a while. Animals can bilocate or actually project. My dog now bilocates. My dog looks like Paul's dog, one of my Chihuahua. So sometimes the Chihuahua is sleeping, and I can see the Chihuahua sleeping, but then I'll see the Chihuahua walking around in front of me for a little while before it disappears.
Mhm.
So I just took it. It's just part of life.
You know, I had a paranormal investigation in Orangeville, California, and this family was freaking out because like cabinets would open. There would be like an imprint on the couch, like something is sitting there. Well, come to find out, it was a dog. And it was their dog that passed away in that house. And I said, "You're afraid of your dog's ghost? This is," and we even got an EVP of a barking.
Oh, cool.
So,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So it's like, I said, "This looks like it's your dog." I said, and I said, "Who sat there all the time leaving that imprint?" She goes, "My dog." I go, "There you go. There you go." And they said, "Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't be afraid of my dog's ghost." And I said, "No, of course not." Yeah. I said, "I'm not even going to bless the house. Your dog wants to hang out here, let him hang out."
You know, I feel that I communicate with my dog now, Bruno, you know, without me saying anything. I feel like telepathically I have communication with him. I can't explain it to anybody because they think I'm crazy, but you know, I'll let him out the back door and he'll just sit on my driveway looking. He doesn't leave the property, and people will ask me, "How did you train your dog to do that?" And I tell them, "Well, we had a talk and I told him he couldn't run away." So he just stays there. And they look at me like I'm crazy.
No, they have to get used to it, that's all.
Again, my
Oh.
ex-wife, who was sensitive, we had to put a cat down because he had a malignancy. And after that, she would, out of the corner of her eye, she would see him kind of jumping off counters onto the floor, just kind of in the peripheral vision a little bit. And one time, now that I think of it, he used to come up to you when you're laying in bed and stick his nose in your ear. And well, that happened to me one time when I was half asleep. So I don't know if I dreamed it or if he came back to visit me and stick his nose in my ear.
He came to you.
Visit you. I
Yes,
believe
he
he
did.
did.
I knew I was going to have the cat I have before I had him. I had a dream about him, about Oliver. And about 2 weeks later, there he was. I knew that a lady named Valerie in New Jersey said, "I have this cat. You've got to meet Michael." And the minute I picked him up, he was my cat. I knew. And he was born.
They pick
He
you.
was born on the first day of the Feast of Bast, May 7th. And it's really funny because I kind of knew that was going to happen. And I felt like the goddess Bast, the cat goddess, gave him to me.
She did. Animals pick you.
Oh, I know.
They pick you because you can look at 100 dogs, but that doesn't mean that's going to be your dog. They actually pick you.
Hey, you
I have a
guys.
I'm sorry.
No, Tim, go ahead.
Well, I have a question for Rob about his trip to England that you ended up writing a book about. Now, I take it that when you went on this trip, this was like a purely pleasure trip. And were you surprised that all of a sudden you found you having ghostly experiences when you were in mind to, have Western relaxation, and now all of a sudden here's ghost?
Yeah, that's exactly the case. I went for a vacation. I went to explore the history and relax, and I had absolutely no desire to communicate with any ghosts at all. But I wound up dealing with ghosts in every place I went, from the Tower of London to Hampton Court Palace to Leeds Castle to Westminster Abbey, the Jewel Tower, everywhere I went. And in one particular case, I went to Hever Castle, and I knew nothing about Hever Castle. And we walked into the castle, we got tickets to go in, and there was suddenly I heard a young man standing next to me, and he told me his name was George, and I looked around, and there was nobody there, and I knew it was a ghost, and he had a very thick British accent. And I turned to my husband and I said, do you know anybody named George that would be living here? And he said, well, yes, this is the Boleyn family home. That would be George Boleyn. That's Anne Boleyn's brother.
Oh,
Ah,
As it turned out,
the
no
one who
good.
pimped her
Oh,
out.
that poor man. Oh,
George Boleyn was he was beheaded from Henry VIII. And Anne Boleyn was, of course, beheaded also because Henry wanted to marry another woman. So he accused the two of them of having relations with each other, which was totally false.
no, it wasn't.
So George decided that he would haunt Hever Castle to try and get the truth known, that he had nothing to do with whatever was being said about him. He gave us a tour of Hever Castle, and
Wow.
as he gave us a tour, I wrote everything down. And he made me feel he got burned. His elbow got burned as a child at a particular fireplace. He gave me a date. I can't remember what the date was. 1542, I think it was. And I didn't know what it was, so I just wrote 1542. And he said, "This is when I was most proud of Anne, my sister, and so forth." When I got home, I looked up that date, and that was the first year. That was the year that Anne got her first royal title. There was no way I would have known that. So
The
all of
Marquis,
those,
yes, that was the Marquis of Pembroke. That was her first title.
yes. Oh, look at you. You're awesome.
Wow.
I
Where'd
know
that come
that I
from?
know the Tudors all too well.
Oh,
Oh,
fantastic.
okay.
So I
You know,
sketched George out.
Robert, we have to
my
bring
book.
you here to Savannah. Savannah is the most haunted town in all of America.
Yeah.
And here
know-
I am.
I have
oh
been
my
there.
gosh. You know what? I'm almost frightened to go anywhere when because
Poor
I feel
baby.
like I'm not as brave as you guys. I walk into a building and I'll tell you somebody died here. Somebody committed suicide here. And, people don't want to hear stuff like that. Seriously. We went to a farmhouse in New Jersey many years ago. We were guests of the owners. And I asked the lady who I didn't know very well. She was my spouse at that time's friend. And I said, "Who is that lady following me around to the bathroom?" And she was just in shock. Turned out that lady following me, she was a photographer for National Geographic, and she owned the house previously. And she said, "How did you know?" I said, "Well, she was following me. What was I going to say? What was I going to do? Like, hello? I didn't want to, as I said, not brave. Okay, but she was there. And it's just like this week, my friend and I were walking. We hear a voice behind us. We look back and there's nobody there. She says, "Did you hear that?" I said, "Yes, I did. I heard it too." But, so maybe I'm getting braver. I'm taking you guys' bravery. But, it's almost like I want to go visit England. But on second thought, as soon as I walk into, any historic building, I'm pretty sure they'll be talking to me. They like to talk to me. I'm not as brave as
They're just people.
Rob,
They want to have their story told.
Rob, did you go on the Jack the Ripper candlelight tour?
I did not.
No, don't do that. No.
No, I had enough. I had enough in the Tower of London was pretty crazy.
Oh no, don't do
as
that.
well.
don't do that.
But
Why?
Oh, there's so much that happened in that place. It's horrible.
Yeah. And I went there and I felt that feeling of dread.
Mhm.
As soon as I walked in there, it's real thick.
Yeah, I think if I started seeing ghosts, I wouldn't be all that brave. But I can be brave
See,
now because I
I'm
don't
with
see
you,
them.
Steve. I'm with you. Hearing them
Well,
is one thing, but seeing them is another thing.
And it's not because I'm wearing aluminum foil under my clothes. It has nothing to do with it.
I've been on 2,500 investigations, and
Hmm.
I've only seen 4 full body apparitions. It's very, very rare to
Paul,
see.
you've got to come here. I want you to meet Eleanor. I want you to meet her. I think you'll like her. She's a very pleasant. She was a slave. She died in 1880. She was 79. I went and looked her up after I found out about her. She keeps saying, I'm waiting for my man to come home. Well, it's been a
Oh,
hundred and somewhat years. Um, she ran a smokehouse. Where I live is a complex. It's called the Fountains. It was built 20 years ago. I think it was a battlefield at one time during the Civil War. Um, Outside of my bedroom, there's a sentry. He's a Confederate soldier. He's just a loop. He just stands there, but I can see him. He has on a gray Confederate uniform, a black, what they call a duster. He has a fixed bayonet on his back, a hat. You get to see him for about 5 seconds. I think he's just a loop. Outside of one of the windows, there is a trooper. He was killed in 1967 during the race riots. Um, and he just puts his hands and his mouth, and then he's gone.
huh?
That would scare you, my dear. He scares the first time I saw it, I thought somebody was trying to break into my window. Eleanor is very pleasant. She doesn't bother anybody. She's in the living room. You smell cigarettes and the perfumes. And she always just says, I'm waiting for my man to show.
And that's all she says?
That's all. I think that's all she can say. But yeah, I'm waiting
Oh,
for my man to show. She's a black woman. She's thin. Oh, I can't tell how tall she is because I can't see all of her. She's not fully realized, but I see a floral dress. Um, I think sometimes I see a headband, and
you
she
should
just,
draw her. You should
I
draw her.
should. She reminds me of Cecily Tyson, who I
Oh, okay.
knew.
That's what I was picturing in my head.
Well,
What
I knew Cecily Tyson, and
did you?
I would have put her in the film. But I'm just waiting for my man to show, and that's all she said. And she's very friendly, and I feel very safe because she seems to be guarding the place, kind of like, like a hostess. She's not
Hmm.
scary. She's very warm and loving. That's all I can say.
Okay.
Hey,
Well, this week, I'm very proud of myself. I didn't get scared. Somebody knocked on my back door. Knock, knock, knock. And the dogs went crazy. And I'm like, I'm not opening that door. What is this? Okay. And so I looked out the window that looks out to my back door. There was nobody there. But before that, a couple of days before, I kept hearing noises in my house, but I wasn't scared. So I'm thinking it's a friendly ghost, but please don't show yourself to me.
hey, Rob, you had also too. You did an investigation with Monique too soon, and it was at a public library.
Yeah, that's a whole nother series of books. I haven't even I haven't even finished the Ghost of the Medium's Vacation series. But anyway, so there are 3 books in the Ghost of the Medium's Vacation series: Ireland, England, and the Ghost of the Birdcage Theater. And the one that you're inquiring about is called the Haunting of series. Yes, one was in a public library in Nashua, New Hampshire. The other one was in a state in Weymouth, Massachusetts that we investigated. And in both cases, we ran into quite a number of ghosts, sketched them out, confirmed who they were, helped a couple of them cross over. So yeah, a lot of adventures.
Well,
Help.
I'm curious, Rob, about the Ghost of England series. Uh, Listening to everyone tell their stories, I mean, ghosts are everywhere. Do you think that The British Isles are just like super haunted, because there's lots and lots of I mean, and I know it's historical, but do you think you would have had the same kind of experiences, say, if you went to Rome or Istanbul, some place, places like that, or do you think there was something special about the British Isles?
I think that there was a lot of torture and wars and death, unjustified death there in the British Isles. And especially during the Tudor period, a lot of these people were murdered unjustly just to suit the king. But I think that's what it is. When, in my experience, people who are killed unjustly often stay behind because they want to tell their stories and get the truth out there. Other people are afraid to cross over because they think they're going to go to a bad place. And in my experience, there is no bad place, but that's a whole nother thing. So yeah, I think that England, all of the UK is very haunted. Ireland is quite haunted too. I went there and wrote a book about all the ghosts that I met there as well. I have been to other places in Europe and they were not as haunted. So yes, to the UK.
I have a question about shadow people. I was out, I've been out in what they call the TNT area many times, including at night. The TNT area is north of Point Pleasant, where the Mothman was seen a few times back in the 1960s. And there's all these concrete bunkers, igloos out there where they used to store explosives. I was out there one night with Rosemary Ellen Guiley, who was no longer with us, unfortunately, great researcher and author, and several other people. Well, there, and another time I was out there, people were actually seeing shadow people, even sensing what they call shadow people, and they would change shape a little bit. Now, I wasn't picking up anything. One of the guys actually started getting nauseous when this activity was going on. What do you guys, and what do you, Rob, and what do you people think about a shadow people? Are they distinct from a typical a ghostly apparition? What's going on here? Any idea?
Well, I have a theory about shadow people. I'd be happy to talk about it if you wish.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
I'm a scientist. I'm a meteorologist, and I use the science of energy. I define the existence of earthbound ghosts versus spirits who have crossed over in terms of energy. They are energy with memories, personality, and knowledge. They use different sources of energy, whether it be physical energies like heat, light, water, electricity, or emotional energies like fear, anxiety, depression for earthbounds, love and faith and hope for the ones that have crossed over. My idea is that earthbound ghosts do not have enough energy to appear in full color, so they appear as shadow figures. Same thing with visiting spirits of your loved ones. You may see them as a shadow. It's because they don't have enough energy to appear in full color. So to me, that's how it works with energy.
Okay.
Someone told me, I attended this workshop about psychic enhancement, and one of the ladies there said, because there were quite a few nurses in the group who said that they would see, these dead patients appear to them after the fact in their gruesomeness. And this lady said, you can ask them to not appear to you like that and to appear in their best form. Is that true? Or were these ghosts you were seeing in their murdered state when you saw them? Or were they in their normal state?
They were in a normal state.
Okay.
Yeah, they can appear to you any which way they want. Sometimes they'll appear to you maybe in a bad way if they want to convey their story.
Yeah.
If they want to convey their story that way, that they may have died.
Okay.
But for the most part, whenever I encounter ghosts and I sketch them out, they look like living, breathing people.
I'd like to add to the shadow people discussion. In Greek folklore, the shadow people entered during the Ottoman occupation. And my family has a very long history with shadow people, seeing them and so forth. So the beliefs I grew up with is that they're a separate creation and they're akin to the jinn of Islamic.
I understand.
I was told they have kids, they have families, and they're just a separate creation. And some people they seem to favor and will appear to. And in my childhood, I saw shadow people very many times.
Did you? When you were little, what did you think of them?
They were part of normal reality. My grandmother used to see them, so I would tell my grandmother what I saw, and she would explain to me what she thought it was that I was seeing when I shared with her. But they
So,
had they had wives, husbands. They appeared in family units.
so some of them are jinn,
Yeah, the folklore about the jinn is very similar. So
right? Okay. Now, are some of them something else? Are some of them, I don't know, inhuman somehow, not connected to uh, dead people at all? You know, spirits
right,
that have moved on.
the jinn are a separate creation I thought of, and also
Okay.
there are a lot of folktale creatures like Kalikantsari and Nereides and Urhonis and things like that in the Greek folklore that can appear as shadows, but they'd be termed elementals or folklore entities in English. So they're not human. They've never been human. They have humanoid shape for the most part, but they're a separate creation as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to tell Rob one thing too about the energy level of spirits. There was a place in Lehigh, Oklahoma, a hillside, where they would see in the 1950s a lady in red. And then in the 1970s, she became the lady in pink. And then now she's the lady in white. She lost all her color.
Oh my goodness.
Goodness.
I have a question for Robert. Robert, how do I, or do you think that I should release the spirits in my home? I can. I'm a priest. I know how to do that kind of thing. I've done what's called the necromancy of intelligence as a ritual very often, actually.
So in my experience, they realize that they're trapped and they made a mistake. And the only way they can find peace is to cross over and join the energy of the cosmos or heaven or Valhalla, whatever you want to call the other side. Because otherwise they can't reincarnate. They
Right.
can never see their loved ones that they lost centuries ago. It's really, to me, being a ghost, an earthbound ghost, is like being in an isolation prison cell where you cannot communicate with those that you love. So that's why I always try to cross them over.
I think I want to do that with the sentry. I don't think that he is even aware that he died. I think he probably got shot in the Civil War. This was a battlefield, I was told. And I think that, he was standing at attention somewhere, on some kind of a building. And I don't think he knows he's gone. And he doesn't communicate. You've seen this. He's just a flash.
Mhm.
A flash of what he looks like. And like you say, it's in black and white, more or less, or sepia tones. I don't see him in full color. I can see the colors. I mean, I know that the duster is darker, that the Civil War uniform, I know that from movies and things, that's gray, but he's kind of not really there. And the state trooper, he's just hands, the chest, and a head. And he opens his mouth. He's like looking like he's screaming, and he's gone. He doesn't have any, and he only shows up once in a while. He usually shows up when there's a heavy rainstorm.
Hmm. That's interesting.
They
He's
use
just
that
a
Waterman.
flash. He's only on for like, you only see him for
Yeah.
like seconds, half a second.
I hate to interrupt, but after this question is answered, we're going to need to start wrapping up and people share the contact information.
Oh, yes. Rob, how can people contact you? Where can they find your books, et cetera, et cetera?
Thanks. They can just go to robgutro.com, Gutro, or petspirits.com. Everything's on Amazon. They're all in paperback, audiobook, and Kindle. The Ghost on Vacation series has 3 books in it right now. England, Ireland, and the Birdcage Theater. And then there's 3 other series: the Haunting of, the Pets in the Afterlife series, and then Ghosts versus Spirits series. So that's where you can find me. Thank you.
Fantastic. Michael, how can people contact you?
Well, I'm very proud to say you can get me on todayswitch.com, which is now the magazine that I'm one of the feature writers on. You can get me on Amazon. You can get me at the Perniteru Temple in Facebook or Instagram, preferably the Facebook one. Um, you can also reach me at phonawizard.com in Facebook as well, which is my business. And I will say that I've got 3 books coming out with Today's Witch. So I'm very excited about that. There's a lot of other good things coming. I don't want to jinx them, so I'm not going to do that. You can call me at 516-650-3691,
Can
and
I
I'm glad to
friend you
answer
on Facebook?
questions.
Can I friend you on Facebook?
Oh, please do, everybody. And if you want, subscribe to me on Today's Witch.
Okay.
Because I am one of today's witches.
All right.
Can I visit you in Savannah?
Oh, anytime. My couch is yours.
Okay. That
Tim.
sounds so interesting.
Tim, how can people reach you, and what's your latest book out there?
Sure. Well, I just want to say that I really look forward to reading Rob's Ghost on Vacations book. All 3 of them sound fantastic, and I can't wait. As soon as I'm done with this show, I'm getting my copies. But if you want to read my books, probably the best way would be just go to Amazon.com, type in my name, Tim R. Swartz, and they'll all come tumbling out for your reading pleasure. Our most recent book is called Weird Time, Exploring the Mysteries of Time and Space. And the new book coming out in a couple of months is called The Persistence of Ghosts. And Hercules and Michael and of course Paul have chapters in this book. So looking forward to it.
And thank you, Tim. And if you guys watch Ancient Aliens, History's Greatest Mysteries, The Unexplained on the History Channel, you just might see Tim. Just to let you know. And we have Space Ranger. We got the Space Ranger. Yes.
Steve Ward. Just type in Steve Ward on Facebook and Point Pleasant. You'll probably find me. You can get the book, Mothman High Strangeness, Mark Randall and myself on Amazon. I'm on the High Strangeness Factor on the Paranormal UK Radio Network, about 6 years of shows with a hiatus in there or two. And come and see me on Saturday afternoons at the Mothman Museum in beautiful downtown Point Pleasant.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And Gloria, how can people get in contact with you?
Type in on Amazon raunchy romance novels. I kid you not, I'm the outlier here. I write naughty love stories. I don't write ghost stories, but
You're the reincarnation of Barbara Cartland, huh?
Yeah.
Now, do they come highlighted with yellow with the naughty parts?
Yes, of course.
You have to do that yourself.
For you. You know, in large type, so you don't have to squint your eyes. You know what? I have to say this. You're all delightful. I can't wait to read what you've written, and you've taught me so much today that I'm not so weird after all. Michael, pleasure to meet you. I'm going to friend you, and Rob.
Oh, thank you.
And Tim, and see you on the web. What, are we
good.
ending early today? We only have 1 40-minute stint.
Well,
the show's an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Hercules, how can people reach you?
They can reach me on YouTube. I have a channel under my name, Hercules Invictus. They can reach me on Facebook. I'm very Googleable.
Googleable.
Google me, you'll get very many entries. And I'm easily reachable. And I want to thank everybody for being here today. And Rob, we didn't do you justice. There's so many more questions that I wanted to ask. I know everybody else did too. So we'll have you on again sometime very soon.
You know, Gloria,
Googleable
sounds like something in one of your novels.
Googleable.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, you have to read it. You have to read it so you can give me some feedback. Like, are you? You know, one of my friends, a guy said, "Where do you do your research?" I said, "What research?" that just flew off the top of my head. I don't even remember what I wrote. I said, I haven't read it since I wrote it. So there you go. But yes, it's called, let me see, I have 2 novels on Amazon. One is The Whippoorwill by Xiomara Jones, pen name because I wrote that a while ago. And one is One Dance by Gloria Ramos. And I have the Halimao children's book series. Halimao means monster in Tagalog, which is a Filipino language, but it's a cartoon. It's a very lovable monster. And Adventures of Halimao and Adventures of Halimao at Sea are on barnesandnoble.com. And I have another book that's out of print, which is on bullying, which is Mirabella's White Boots. So I need to resurrect that, and probably now would be a good time since there's so much bullying in this world today, unfortunately. But you know what? You're all inspiring me to write some paranormal romance sizzling, book. Don't laugh. They're very entertaining. I promise you will be entertained.
All I can think of is the movie High Spirits.
Ooh.
That was a
Is that a
ghost in it.
romance book?
It was a book, and it's also a really cool movie. Steve
Oh.
Guttenberg and Beverly D'Angelo.
Oh,
And Paul, how can
Was
people
that done? Huh?
Paul, how can people reach you?
Oh, yes. Okay, easy. All you have to do is Google or Bing me, Paul Dale Roberts. If you want to see some of my books, Paul Dale Roberts books, and you'll see them all. And a lot of my books now are on the Internet Archive, Google Books, and Google Play. But you'll find some that if you want to see the printed ones, they're in Amazon. I think I have a couple in Barnes and Nobles, and that's about it. And then also too, you can see some of the documentaries that I've been on by looking at my IMDb. And this show right here tonight will be on IMDb, which is an international movie database.
Oh, cool.
I have to write all y'all's names down because I only know the first names. So Paul, can you hook me up? I am me, all their info so that I can keep track of them. I would love to keep in touch and keep track.
Rob,
Yeah,
is there any last words you'd like to leave us with today?
I'm sorry.
Rob, are there any last thoughts or words you'd like to leave us with today?
Just always be in good spirits.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, everybody.
very good.
May the new year continue to treat you well, and I look forward to our next conversation. To all those
Thank you.
Journeys and amazing adventures. This will be up by tomorrow at noon, and I'll send the link to Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night,
seeing
all.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Life, health, and prosperity, everybody. Good night.
Good night.